All right, well, peace, peace, peace. First and foremost, man, hopefully the Most High in your house shall is blessing your day. By His mercy, we are consumed. We're alive in the Most High in your house shall's body, and two, we're naturally alive, man. And I want to get into this, man, because you know what? I read, and that's why the word, you know what? Because here's the thing, right? Let me say this too, like, man, because like and shouts out to the brother Simple Firstborn, and because you know this word, man, honestly. It dealt because you know let's go to Hebrews real quick, man, because it cuts it's supposed to correct you and guide you. It's for our betterment. It's for like reproof and correction, like as Second Timothy says, and to reprove and correct us, right? That's why it says don't despise chastening, don't get weary. Even Proverbs 3 goes into don't get weary of the you know chastisement of the. Let's get this too. Then we're gonna get Hebrews. 11. It says, Proverbs 3:11. It says, "My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither beware his correction." So yeah, because you don't chastise you, he doesn't like love you, and and that will be make you a bastard. And bastards can't enter into the congregation of the Lord. That's the Most High Yahshua's body. But let's get this Hebrews 2 right, because Hebrews 4 real quick. Let's go into this because I want to talk about this. Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 12. It says, "For the word of Yahweh is quick, powerful, and sharper than any two-edged sword, and piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of thoughts and intents of the heart." And intents of the heart. So that's going to be key for what we later kind of go into with this, because and that's why Proverbs 16 comes in, man, because he looks at the spirit behind it, right? Thinks something could be lawful, but the Most High Yahshua is looking at the spirit and intent behind it. Honestly, even some things here can be like some things are even in this captivity, right? Or even this naturally, like in a natural sense, certain things can be legal, right? But it's really the intent and like the spirit and the intent and motivation behind it. But Let's go to 2 Timothy 3 and 16, right? Because it says, "All scripture is given inspiration of Yahweh. It is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, and for instruction and righteousness," right? So, because why are we reading this, right? Because this is all really, like, that's why, shout out to Brother Chronicles of Judah, because years ago he said, listen, try to avoid circular talk, right? Because I think a lot of times too, do we in regular life, do we like here discuss different dynamics, different things that nature, different as far as like he said, like, listen, circle talk as in race talk, a thing that's going to be ongoing, or the gender war aspect, because we see this a lot of times in the quote unquote manosphere with the red pill and MGTOW or brothers, or even though not just with our people, just in men in general, and to the women with the feminists and stuff like that, and the movement and all that, all those other stuff like that. We see this because it's ongoing circular talk, right? So. But let me say this too, right? Because a lot of times, like, the word is really a hearts of men issue, hearts of inward issue. Like, it shows it inwardly, honestly. Whether it's like, because you know what it is too? Just because that faith, the measure of faith, man, that's not really a gender thing as well, because you could it doesn't matter men or women, now there's a hierarchy, as in like one, the Most High Yahushua is the Most High Yahushua's head, and Christ Yahushua is our head, is the man's head, is our head, and the woman is the man's. The woman is under authority of the man. Like the man is her head, and the children look up to both, to the woman, and then the father, of course, like that. So there's a hierarchy, like Corinthians 11 lays out. So there's a hierarchy, but as far as measures of faith and things of that nature, like that's not really a gender thing a lot of times, and this is not like even because a lot of times too, when people say the Bible, the scriptures is oppressive to like women and stuff like that. That's how I know it's somebody that doesn't want to read the scriptures, man. Because we about to go into this, man. Because this all started with the whole because I kind of because I was reading a headline the other day about how Mary J. Blige, her ex-husband, what he did to her, so he took her money, things of that nature, and now he's kind of in a bad estate, man. That was probably the most on your house's judgment, because I'm not sure the fully details, but I'm just gonna go into that aspect, right? Because that's not, because just like the Bible tells, the scripture tells, like certain things about women. It's also talks about, like it gets on, actually it gets on the men as well. It actually gets on the men as well, because I think, but certain times it's a certain, when certain things, like 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 if you're a certain, like women was came up a certain way, or if you are a certain way, that like that not like in structure and order, like that's going to be like just like even men. That's why he compared, like like Israel to a woman, man. Just like honestly, that like what a lot of what you call them, like men, it's going to be like a certain thing, man. That's why, like when you are a certain way, man, like when you want to do what you want to do, you're not going to like certain things, man. That's is what it is, man. Because a lot of times too, like we talk about this all the time. When the word goes into, like there's no wickedness of the wickedness of the woman, man. And that's always not talking about the natural women, or like even if it's going into certain things. All right, be quiet, girl. It's all right, girl. You'll be all right. When it goes into certain things, right? It's not always talking about the natural woman. It's talking about like men too as well. But even in that, right? Like that doesn't absolve like wicked and evil men as well, right? Because it doesn't. Because when you read Susanna, did those two wicked elders get away? No, it's like a bunch of times, like even though the word says that, but it's just going to the natures of things, right? When you read that, it's not really like I mean, I can get it from a natural aspect, because don't get it twisted. Like the brothers said, like like somebody said in the class yesterday, in the assembly of firstborn, like the brother assembly of firstborn, people don't act like especially people that deal with the word. Well, let me say this too, because more actually, I need to grow in this aspect. I need to get better at this as well. Or like just because like now I'm in the word, looking at things spiritually, doesn't mean like you can't understand with somebody that's like carnally thinking about it, or like with looking at things through a carnal and fleshly perspective. Because I could, so that's why a lot of times too here we always say, if we're doing on the natural tip, I can understand certain things, right? Because seeing that you will see that you will hear a certain way, but honestly when you go into the layers of it, you realize, okay, too, it's like the Most High in Yahushua's they just give me the nature of certain things, right? Time, but the men and women, there's sometimes they know this too. Here's why, like we're gonna talk about this in the aspect of the whole gender war conversation, even happening on internet. Most of the time it's internet talk, and sometimes it's pertaining to real things. But even in actual, then like on the internet, and even like day to day in real life, actually. Because one, like this brother Assembly Firstborn said, both parties, both men and women, men aren't getting the women that they want. So that's why they're upset. Women aren't getting the men that they want. So that's the reason why. And it's like two, and both, with this society is not really trained, does not really tell us that they're teaching us that the both genders are equal, and that's not the case. They have two different natures, and that's fine. That's okay. So that's is what it is with that. But honestly, the fact that it's the fact that what was I going to say? It's that's the aspect of it. So when you read that something like that, yeah, it's going to, and also too, yeah, the Most High Yahusha knows what He created, man. So, and one, if you're not that wicked woman, you shouldn't be upset about that, because any righteous woman, righteous woman, they'd be like, yeah, like like the brother Judah Mack used to say, like, yeah, we women can be like that. So yeah, it's just is what it is. Or even different, like for the things, different things with men. Honestly, it's not really, it's really a inward issue for character. So you can grow godliness, honestly, man. That's just is what it is. So you can kill off the old person, old man and woman, like the old person in you. It's something that you can grow in morals and character, man. That's what the word is for. One, grow in your faith in the Most High Yahusha and grow inwardly, becoming a new creature, being born again. That's what it's about, honestly. So, but all that being said too, that's what that's about, man. So it's like because like only time people that get mad, that's like and two, like the brother of 71st one perfectly said, people don't like exclusion. Don't be like, this is natural for human beings not to be like to be excluded from certain things, because a lot of times too, right? Say if a woman's like saying I want a man like that makes this kind of money. The men that don't make that kind of money, they're gonna be like feel some type of way, because like naturally humans don't like to be excluded. Or say if you talk about like what a man saying, I don't want women with children. Some women with children going to like don't feel a certain way, because people don't like exclusion. Shoot, this word is exclusive for the holy and the unholy, man. So it's like anything of value is really exclusive. But no. That's another topic for another day. But I'm saying that to say, because honestly, because we know this the whole quote unquote, like, I seen this in my lifetime. You brothers and sisters as well seen this throughout my lifetime. I mean, throughout your lifetime, probably seen this as well. The whole gold digger not just being some. That's where the sincerity and truth honestly kicks in, that because you want somebody to be around you for the sincerity and truth. Now, of course, you want, like, as a man, you're supposed to provide certain things, like, because it's not like a lot of times too with certain men, like, they get upset, like, when the I used to have the mind frame as well, but while now spiritually think about it, you can't be upset at that. Like when they say, listen, like, men, like, should be taking care of, like, everything, all the bills, stuff like that, paying, stuff like that. Why I can't be upset with that? Because listen, isn't Jeremiah 62, isn't as the Most High house, don't they take care of everything as being the bride of Christ, being his wife? So yes, that's nothing wrong with that too as well. But but in the aspect of, like, being with somebody just for the money, or for the wealth, or I mean for the wealth, for the resources, I mean for the finances, things of that nature, that's just like, a lot of times, of course, now we know for the most part women do that as well. Not all women, but some women in this world, not some women, like, as well do it. And now we're seeing this as, like, prophecy more unfolds, and this is how it is, like, the world moving colder and colder, and how it is more women, like, are doing that. These modern women are doing that. But let me say this too: a lot of times too, the scriptures tell men not to do that, honestly, because, like, and we're gonna read that, because I just all kind of started me reading that Mary J. Blige over her ex-husband. I heard the storyline years ago, but, like, because, like, as men we shouldn't celebrate that as well, because we're not supposed to do that as men as well either. Like, get with a woman you don't even like her, honestly, because that's love without dissimulation. That's not sincerity and true. But you're getting with her for her resource, or getting with her for her status, or, like, getting for her not with for her, because of course, because the looks, and now scriptures are talking about this don't go off for just appearance, or because she has a fat butt, or, like, her body and things, and it just even before we kind of get taught that, but a lot of times too, we made a lot of mistakes with that. Like, it is what it is. Even still to this day, like, even if, when you get in the word, like, that can happen, honestly, too. But the word gives us that, it's that playbook, so we don't make that same mistake, man, honestly. So, but we know that. But also too, man, just for just as that as well, man. But let's grab this Ecclesiasticus, Sirach chapter 25 verse 21. It says, stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire not for her pleasures. Now, that's not pleasures going to, like, sexually things that nature, lust wise, or, like, that pleasure could be also too for, like, what she has. If that's a woman that she has, like, like a example, like a Mary J. Blige type of thing, man. If her husband, you get with her just, and, like, to take all her money, man, and, like, that's why he's probably in the condition the way he did in that, because what you did was very guile and deceitful, just like a woman would do it. A man shouldn't do that either. Now, I get it. Sometimes, a lot of times, like, we see the memes, right? When it's tax season, we see a meme with, like, bro, it's an ongoing joke with memes, like, with Jake getting with, like, Edomite with a so-called Caucasian woman or white woman during tax season, so he can get the new PS5 or the PS6, whatever, or new phone, whatever they're trying to get with, and you trying to get with a fat, Edomite woman or Caucasian woman for that, like, having, like, different from that woman that was just, like, different from that typing Jada Pinkett and set it off, that, she remember when she slept with the older brother for that for her brother's college tuition and things of that nature. So yeah, it's no different, honestly, man. I know it's a joke, it's kind of funny, but still, honestly, you don't do that as men. We shouldn't do that as men to women as well. It's not right, because the word is telling you this. So that's why when because that's why when people think, like, the scriptures just get on, like women all day, it's not always cool. It's not always talking about the natural woman. And two, it's like, it talks, the word talks because when it says let the woman learn in silence, the word tells when men want to be quiet as well. So it's not like see how it goes into, it's not a gender thing, honestly. Now, does it go into sometimes, like, does this word sometimes go into the difference between the nature of the difference between the natures between the two different genders that the Most High House I created? Yes, but honestly, it's not really that. And also too, it is like, he does at the end, they say, listen, you could be upset with it, like it is what it is. But he does say in Proverbs 8:4, like he in Ezekiel, he said, listen, my flocks are men. I call out the verse to sons of men, like and the men are leaders. So it's actually more burdens put on the men, actually, even outside the word. That's just is what that's how the Most High Yahshua made things. It is what it is. Like James Brown said, it is a man's world, but that's is what it is. And it's not like and you don't. And it's like you don't do that as a hatred for women, because even Sirach goes into chapter 4 goes, don't be a lion in your household. Just because sometimes people are under your charge, like doesn't mean you get to treat them any old type of way. So let me say that, put that disclaimer out there too. But yeah, let me read this again, man. But because First Timothy chapter 5 verse 6. It says, let's read this as well. Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 verse 21. Stumble not the beauty of a woman, and desire not for her pleasure. So yeah, let's go First Timothy, and we're gonna look at this in this aspect as But she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. So one, this is on spiritually. He's talking about that Jeremiah 5 and 45 and 5 in that Second Timothy. One. Men, just people doing their own will instead of the Most High Yahshua's will, your desires, and that lines up with the Proverbs, how pretty much you're pretty much gonna be alive but you're dead, man, because you're without understanding the Most High Yahshua. You don't have the Most High Yahshua spirit, so pretty much when you do what you because kind of goes into that Proverbs 1 and 2 Esdras 9 verse 9. People, they receive all benefits in their life, do what they want to do, but at the end it's you never sought the Most High Yahshua. So pretty much you're living but you're dead. That's what's talking about on spiritual tip. But naturally, since we're talking about this in the context of this conversation, it says don't but she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. Because why? It said and desire her not for her pleasure, man. So that means even if she's no other woman has that that's why the word says not to do that. Because one, if in the next verse it says a woman that maintain now this is talking about wicked women as well, but but even till naturally, and I can understand, it says if a woman if she maintain her husband, she's full of anger, impudence, and reproach. Because why? Even on natural tip, because if you read in context, it's talking about wicked women that say if you fall on hard times as a man and she doesn't want to do that, that's just okay, cool, you don't want to do that at all, because don't get twisted now. Yeah, of course, as men, we should have our stuff together, but as well. But say if hard times do happen, now she's upset that now let me say this too as well. You can't go point with a long period of time, with years and years of her, are you doing this? Because eventually that's what it's talking about. Even on natural tip, you don't do that because she's going to be upset. She's going to look at you more like a son. It's going to be a whole baby boy thing, more a son than her actual leader, things in nature. And also, too, it's that pleasure she's going to use against you. So that's why it says don't even desire for her pleasure. Of course, that pleasure is more than lust and sexual things. It's even if it's a woman's status, she has a career and things in nature. Don't do that, man, honestly, because it's it's not good to do. Just like women do it to men, we as men shouldn't do that to women. You don't do that because one is guile and deceitful. You don't actually like this woman. You're just with her for what she can and don't get twisted, because there's certain things with women she loves this is especially in the woman of the ancient world, in the Proverbs 31 woman, women in ancient world, even to women to now, listen, is that she really rock with you like that? She get you a bunch of stuff. She love, but but the love, it goes beyond stuff like that. She just loves you, even when you had nothing, and now that you both got into affluent good positions, it's just all right, she loved you before that, that's more when the love is there, but But honestly, it's like the episode of Fresh Prince, right? Remember the episode of Fresh Prince? I had to Google the actress name because I was watching BMF the last night. And actually, the McCall White, that's her name, the one that plays Lucille, she was actually in the episode of Fresh Prince. But remember that episode where she took him to the Lakers game and things of that nature, and Will actually didn't like her, but he was he was misusing her, not using her, because you want to be used as people, honestly, because you can't be used for what good are we. So it's really when people misuse you, honestly. He was misusing her, just for the stuff that she can provide him, because she was kind of preppy type nerd, kind of quote unquote nerdy. She had the glasses on. Will, he didn't really like her like that at all, because honestly, compared to other girlfriends he had on show, like Nia Long, I forget her character's name, other girlfriends he had, he actually liked, but her, he could tell he's just misusing her for what she had. That's what this is kind of talking about as well. You don't do that as a man. That's like women do it. to like to men, like not all women. Not, I should say that. Not I said women, but majority of women or more. Some women do that to men. We don't do that to women, man. Because honestly, we shouldn't have that. That brother, like I forgot her, I don't know his name. I think his name is Ken or something. But that brother, like Mary J. Blige's ex-husband, you don't do that to women as well. You don't, honestly, and don't get to some because if you real at the end of the day, you real. Because certain you don't think like certain women won't peep that as well, man. Just like certain men peep that as well. But depending on how much they now, here's what the thing is, like that's where it is even some as people as well. We got to realize like. Certain times, like our own idealism can get in the way. Like, or just because we don't want to see the certain things, we gotta see them for what they are. Honestly, it could be in a good way or bad way. Like the great, like Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, like believe them as well. And that's not always in a bad aspect, but in this aspect, yeah, you gotta believe them because sometimes our own idealism can blind us. Because sometimes, like men, a lot of times men, like a Travis Hunter situation, like well. Sometimes you could be so much blind that you see it, but you just like this person so much. You like this person so much. You own you're just kind of it's that Laura, it's that Steve Urkel and Laura effect. It's like 1,000 people could tell. Like somebody like Travis Hunter, it doesn't make no point trying to talk to him, man, because 1,000 people could tell him that like what she's with him for, but it wouldn't matter because like when especially you in that in that in love spirit, which you should never be, it's nothing gonna matter. Same with a woman like that knows a man is doing this, like he's not like he doesn't actually like her, he just likes just misusing her for his stuff. A lot of times she could probably see it, but it's just blind to her, but her own idealism and blind that doesn't want to see and kind of gotta let that go. But honestly, man, but some people, man, they can pick up on that, man, so it is what it is, man. But let's grab this too, man, because it's like let's get Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 verse 21. It says, "Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure," man. So yeah, man, that's what it is. So yeah, pretty much I'm saying a lot of times too, and it's different, right? Because honestly, here's the thing, here's the difference, right? Because there are two different scenarios, right? Because just because you got brothers out here that they make them a lot of times we can make the mistake of going from our mother's house to the woman's house, living with them and things of that nature, or living off a woman. But a lot of times here's the difference though, but because that's not the same, right? Because there's a lot of brothers, we see this a lot all the time as well, that do actually like the woman that they're with, but they living off her. They're the dirty dude type, play man all day and stuff like that don't want better for themselves type. That's different from somebody that actually doesn't like that woman and things of that nature, that but you just want both are bad. Both as men we shouldn't do, but you actually don't like her. You just like the stuff that she can provide. She buys you new clothes and new games, and you actually don't like this woman, and and you doing that. Actually, that's what you're doing. You said it's a stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for her pleasure, man. Because so that's you're like being a male gold digger as well. Because actually, a gold digger really doesn't have if I had to look it up, but even though majority of it is women, but a gold digger, a man can be a gold digger as well, man. And that's something you don't want, man. That's something as man you kind of honestly, because honestly, as I don't like it, but actually kind of as a man, I could kind of understand from a woman's perspective, but honestly too. Certain things as men, we should be no, man, that's just a no go. That being being a male gold digger, or just being that type, or what was I thinking about? What was I just thinking about? Or you just doing that, man? Because or even that's what I'm saying. Or a side dude, that's another thing for another day. That's just shameful too. That's just the abomination as well. But that's another little thing for another day. But let me say this too, but because majority of the time, the man I'm talking about, those male gold diggers, they could be those side dudes, but they don't even mind it, because stuff that, again, there's no respect. You should that should just make you just honestly you gotta look in the mirror if you moving like that. But honestly too, if you're a man and you're like, moving that type of covetousness, gold digger, like you just want a woman for that, man. Come on, man. That's just ridiculous, man. And that's against the word too, man. So, yeah, man, that's just is what it is, and it's not a tit for tat thing, because a lot of times a lot of times a man, a certain man with that mindset, no man, a man with that mindset, he's like, that's just someone who he is, and two, in his mind, he'll feel just survival, because like, yeah, man, women do it to us all the time, so we're gonna get back. No, that's a tit for tat spirit. That's very childish. You don't do that. Like, come on, man. Like, so there's certain things like, yeah, man. But after seeing that Mary J. Blige, like, type of, I read that, like, I was scrolling, and I saw that that quote from him. I was like, I thought of the scripture. It's like, yeah, man, we don't do that as well, man. It's like, certain because the word reminds you of women that do that as well, like, that just like, that do that as well. Even before the word, like, y'all probably learned that as well, like, but but yeah, man, you just don't do that, man. Like, you just don't do that. That whole thing, you don't do that. But anyway, man, hopefully it's edifying. So peace.